Hi guys, today I am going to make a little page in my Life Crafted album using some of the At My Table Life Crafted kit goodies, including this little photo strip frame that comes in the die cut pack. So what I did was measure all those little holes and the spacing, and then I printed my photo 3 times in Photoshop so that I would have this little film strip. So the first thing I'm going to do is just trim out that photo, and then I can go ahead and stick the little film strip on top of my photo. I do need to just trim those sides a little bit so that you don't see the white strips of my photo through the holes in the die cut, and then I will have the main photo element for my page. So that's first up. The next thing I'm going to do is go and change the lighting in here because the sun is going in and out like crazy today. Right, got that sorted. Now I can carry on with my page. I have pulled out all of these little die cut pieces, the beautiful florals, just the ones I loved the most, to be honest. They've got very little to do with my photo at all other than I really love them. And they're all soft, pretty pinks and teals and yellows. And so when I went to choose a paper to use behind this cluster here, there was really only the one pattern that sort of worked with those colors, and the pattern paper I like the best is actually one with a lime green on it, and that is not going to suit my page. So I am going to alter those colors in Photoshop and show you how I do it. So I just opened the digital traveler's notebook paper in Photoshop, and what I want to do is just alter the colors in this paper just so that it suits my page a little bit more. And an easy way to do that is to use an adjustment tool, and we're going to adjust the hue and saturation. Now, if you want to just slide the hue slider, you can see the colors of the paper change, which is great. So I want pink flowers. Here are my pink flowers. I can adjust the saturation to make them brighter. I can adjust the lightness of it. There's lots of things you can do and play around in here. But the issue that I have with this is that I want these leaves to be teal, not blue. So the flowers are great at pink, but these leaves are not the color I want them to be. So I'm just going to reset these to 0. And instead of using our master selection here, I'm going to click on this drop down menu, and these flowers are what we would call cyan. So I'm going to pick cyan, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to adjust my slider until my flowers are pink, and you can see this time the leaves are staying their original color. I'm going to adjust the saturation a little bit, and I'm going to adjust the lightness a considerable amount because I want these to be super light. So again, we're just playing around until we get a color that you quite like, and I like this paley sort of warm pink. And now I want to adjust the leaves. So you can choose between green or yellow. I'm suspecting that these are going to pick up as yellow rather than green because it is a really khaki colored green. So we'll try that first. And then just change your slider and you can see those changing, and I want them to be a nice tealy blue green. And the same deal as before, I want to lighten these up as well considerably, much like this. And that's how easy it is to change your Traveler's Notebook paper colors in Photoshop. So you can see the original and our adjusted version. So I am just gonna go ahead and print that out. So I've gone ahead and printed that out just on some light card, and you can see that it suits my page much better. So don't forget that if you've got a pattern that you love, you can always change the colors for it to suit embellishments or photos. You are definitely not stuck with the colors that the pattern comes in. So I've just started by trimming that page out, and I also trimmed the rest of that card down so that it would fit on the left side of my spread here. And then I went through my stash and I pulled out a bunch of vellum and tissue paper and a little doily I've got. I just want to carry on this like soft kind of feminine pretty sort of theme that I've got going. So I figured a few little layers are going to be perfect for that, and the beauty of the Life Crafted album is that I can put as many layers in here and make these pages as big and thick as I want, because I am not limited like I am in a traveler's notebook. So I've just trimmed down 3 pieces of tissue, and obviously have trimmed them way too large, but I just wanted something a bit more manageable to work with. This is just like tissue paper that came in like packaging, so just reusing a little bit of waste, and it's all big and folded up, so it's easier just to trim down 3 little pieces and trim them from there. So one I just glued straight on to the back of my die cut photo piece, and this one here I'm just going to fold it. I've just sort of given it a sort of couple of folds just to give it a little bit more layering, a bit more sort of randomness, and everything I'm just gluing behind the photo. The other brilliant thing with these pockets is I don't have to go too overboard with the glue, because everything's going to be in a pocket, so it's not going to fall out or get pulled off as I turn these pages. So now I've got those little layers in behind my photo. It's also going to help the photo stand out from the page a little bit, because that pattern is very busy and quite light and pastel-y. It just helps that photo stand out a bit more, gives it a bit more of an outline there. So I'm going to create 2 sort of clusters on this side, probably a sort of larger one at the top and a secondary sort of smaller one down the bottom. And you can see I've left room on the left hand side. That's where I'm going to have my, I would say a title, except it's not really a title. It's a piece from, again, the die cut pack, so it's sort of a little quote, and I'm really only going to put 2 initials on there, so the page doesn't technically have a title, but that's where all the words is going to be. So I'm adding a little bit of black thread just to tie in the black from the actual photo strip. Otherwise that's going to be the only dark element on this entire spread. So I want to tie that in somehow, and that's how I did it. And I'm going to add the same thread on all 3 of the florals. So there's the yellow one at the top, this little pink one down the bottom, and there's a floral on the left hand side that's going to get some thread added to it as well. Now I'm no expert with adding thread like this. You can see me, I'm just kind of bunching it up on my desk. I added some adhesive to the floral die cut, and then I kind of just stick it down onto the thread, add a little bit more adhesive on top if I need to, and then just stick that down. Now the other theme on here that I'm going to end up using is a lot of love hearts, a lot of hearts for this little photo of me and Lil. There's a few chipboard pieces on here that would work, and I kind of audition them just lightly, trying not to stick them down onto my layout. And I do want to try and keep with those colours, the pink and the teal, and just a few tiny pops of yellow will stop it becoming too themey. Now instead of those circle pieces, I do like this arrow that says this photo. It seems appropriate since I've used 3 photos, but they're all the same photo. But because the arrow is pointing to the left, it didn't quite work for me, because it ends up pointing away from the photo, so it didn't make a lot of sense. So for now I'm leaving the right hand page, and I'm going to work on the left a little bit. It seems to my eye unbalanced at the moment, which is why I'm having trouble making some of these decisions. So I'm just going to create a little cluster on the tag. I've stuck down the floral, and then I'm going to add my thread actually under the title die cut. It says after all this time, always, or something like this. And I'm just adding that little bit of same black thread again to pull the black onto the left hand side, and I'm sticking that on top of the floral. So there's not going to be a whole lot of things going on this side. It's really just this simple little tag cluster, and I am going to add the same sort of tissue treatment underneath the tag, which will stick out much less on this side, but just gives it a little bit, that little bit of texture difference between that and the smooth white cardstock that it's sitting on. Again, it's mostly to tie those 2 pages together, which is what I'm attempting to do, just to try and keep everything nice and balanced. So I've got my visual triangle with my cluster on the left and at the top and down the bottom right. And so now it's really just a matter of adding those tiny little finishing touches. So There are a few kind of tab die cuts in the pack as well. And there was also this heart, sort of row of hearts, but I really only want the little yellow one, which was going to prove intensely difficult to trim that out. So I've actually trimmed out the blue and the yellow one, and I'm gonna glue that down tucked under the floral so that the floral piece covers up the blue, and that gives me a little pop of yellow down in my bottom cluster as well. So I need one on the third cluster on the left hand side, and there is this yellow tab which is a totally different colored yellow, but because I end up hiding most of it under the tag, it still balances out nicely. Now I decided that if I add the arrow chipboard piece at the top, it sort of makes a bit more sense and creates that larger cluster at the top too. So that's what I'm going with. And then the last thing I want to do is add a few of these puffy sticker hearts. And again, they're a bit brighter, a bit bolder than the pastel colors that I've got going on, which is great because it just gives them a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a visual, and again helps tie in that darker color of the photo frame. Now I'm adding just a couple of little hearts around each cluster, just varying up the colors and the sizes. And then, like I said, this page isn't necessarily going to have a title. I'm just going to add our initials, so D and L, with these little teal words, they're not word stickers, letter stickers, which again work perfectly with my pastel-y little theme. And then I call the page done and turn off the camera, and then decide I want to add some splatters, but I'm not brave enough to get out the ink. So instead I grab a gel pen, and you can see here in the detail photos that I just randomly drew some little splatters with a black gel pen, and love how it looks. I don't have to worry about splodging that black ink anywhere. I can control it, and that's exactly what I love to do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen, or why not check out my Patreon page? There are even more videos over there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!